We are back, never too shy. Paulina here.
Nestor.
It usually goes Tati, Nestor. I'll be fair, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna
or the bra bro, Nestor. Yeah.
Yes. But Tati's not here today. But we have two special guests with us sitting here. We've been talking about this pretty much all month, so I'm really excited.
Nestor. I actually wanted to have them on here like a couple of weeks, like every week I would say like, let's bring them on now, but I'm glad that you guys made it today. And
thank you for having us.
Yeah, we have Drama Monica, or AK, the mom of all of us, my mother,
the Chicago mother,
and then my friend Wildcat. And these are my friends. Guys,
what up?
Yeah, we're excited to have you. We have so much to talk about. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna get deep.
How deep?
real deep. That's the only way to do it.
I only agreed to the tip.
You just want to just the tip. Oh, my cable came out. See? Exactly. Deep. Right. Hello?
Today deep, girl.
Okay, there we go.
Trying. Should I do a little? Okay, just the camera is back. So the cameras know. All right. Well, we are so excited. So we start off the show with a little bit of affirmation, right? So everybody kind of drops their affirmation, kind of tells the backstory behind it. Feel free to chime in. Sometimes we get a little shady because a lot of times it has to do with like what's going on in like our lives. So we're kind of like, we're kind of just saying how we feel. Do you want to start first, Nestor? Or want me to go first?
You can go first.
I can go first. Okay. So mine is respect. Okay, like of giving respect and having respect, right? And this goes down to a question I got for everybody here today. Mm-hmm. You tell me who's in the wrong, okay? And you can tell me if I'm wrong because I'm known to be drama Paulina sometimes, like your drama Monica. But my drama is always like some like just what the fuck's going on with her today type thing. But so I had the reason I say this because I had tickets to a festival here, right, in Chicago. This year, my tickets were very, very, very limited. Even my good, sweet friend here, Nestor, tried to get tickets from me. I literally had...
I was harassing her.
Yes, he was harassing at my door with binoculars. He was everywhere. He was climbing the
windows. I need my ticket.
But that's his personality.
I'm very aggressive with it, I think.
You are.
Yeah, I love that, though. I wish I could be like that. So I was like, okay, I got so like limited amounts here in my hand. So I had a friend ask, can I have one? She asked me like 3 weeks ago because she thought I was going to get more like in the past. And I was like, I didn't. And I was like, I literally have one. Like, do you want it? And she was like, yeah. She doesn't end up going. Fine. I know. And I was like, okay, you don't end up going. Then I hit her at the festival. I'm like, are you going to be here? What time? She goes, I'm not going to make it. And I'm just like, okay. And she goes, but don't you worry. I gave the ticket to someone else, so it won't go to waste. Okay. Hear me out, though, guys. I get not wanting it to go to waste.
I see.
But you could have told me because I had like 5-6 people literally like on my ass asking me if
the bra bro was needing a ticket.
Literally, my mom could have used it. Anybody could have used it at this point. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, and you're giving it to a random person who's like some owner of some gym. I don't care or know who this person is. Like, is it your right or your like duty, I guess, to like give it to somebody else if it's not even yours to begin with?
Yeah.
Do you get me?
No, I get it.
It's
I
like,
see it.
But you already had given it to her, so it's no longer yours.
Mother? No.
I think so. Don't you think so?
I don't think so. I get what she's saying.
But when you give somebody something, you can't have it back because you already gave it out.
Oh, yeah. Remember we were talking about...
Yeah, we were talking
about were just
that.
talking about... Yeah. Talk about that real quick. Okay, you want to talk about it?
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, she don't want the heat.
I don't want the heat, yeah. I don't.
Okay, so
it's both.
But I think once you give it away, it's no longer yours. It doesn't belong to you. So you respect, how you said, their decision, who they wanted them to have.
I think it's the way that it all played out. Like
I would have, honestly, if you would have gave me that ticket, I would have said, if I was not going to go, I would have said, no, thanks, I'm not going to go. Give it to somebody else,
Right.
But she probably wanted to go, but something else happened that was more important.
And that's what I was going to say, that she pressed her so much about it that I think that's what
next time, Paulina will know that she doesn't deserve a ticket.
Oh, Paulina knows.
Paulina knows. That's a good phrase.
And Paulina
knows that
who deserves that ticket?
We do. Drama Monica.
Y'all haven't said what the show
You
is
better
because
call me
I
when
might.
you have free tickets, girl.
What were you saying, Walker?
Well, right now I'm neutral, but you haven't said the show, so I might want the ticket too.
Right.
It was Michelada Fest.
Bro,
Yeah.
so
okay.
can we all be like first on the list?
Yes, you guys just moved your way up. So
Okay.
Congratulations. Dude, I get it. I think
No,
for
it's
me,
both.
right, I can see both here.
It's like, yeah, you can,
It's
yeah,
the
you can make
principle.
it, you can give it, but it's like to cut some. First of all, you didn't buy this ticket. You know, you asked me for it, and you know that it's limited, and then you didn't even key me in like, oh, you know what, I'm not gonna make it. I'm thinking about giving it to so and so. It was just like that's it, and it's like, yeah, you can do that because you gave it to somebody. So there you go. They could sell it, use it, whatever. But it's also like you gave it to them thinking that they were gonna be there. You even hit them up like, hey, you here? Like, what's going on? So it's like you can respect both sides of it. You can respect somebody's decision to do something with whatever you gave them, but also they can respect how they got it and be like, hey, let me let you know what's going on.
I like that.
I love it. No, I love it. I'm still torn, but
I would have been mad, and
We
I'm
both.
a little bit mad that I wasn't first in
Oh
line.
yeah.
But it is what
Don't
it
be
is.
pressing.
I don't hold grudges that long.
Don't be
I
proud.
don't. No, I
No?
don't.
How
I
long?
don't.
I think you do.
I keep note of it, but I don't
Yes.
think
Yeah.
keep it noted. Is that a grudge?
No.
It's just noted, right?
No. I mean, I'm biased, but no.
Yeah, I'll be like, mm-hmm.
You gotta keep note. So what about for you?
Okay, so for
Your
me,
affirmation.
my affirmation is it's crazy because I've seen it a couple times going to her salon and then coming here. But it like I know like I don't want to be cheesy, but I am always cheesy. But like that billboard coming on the hall in the expressway here really was speaking to me. It said peace of mind, you know? And it like it's something that I feel like that can be applied to every part of your life, you know, like, you know, business wise, you know, your friends. So right now, this little person that's trying to date me, and they keep like playing with me. They keep playing with me, and the thing is that at the end of the day, I've thought about it. I'm like, why am I giving so much control and so much of my peace to somebody, you know? And I don't want to do that. And I think for me, my affirmation is just guarding your mind, guarding your peace, guarding yourself, you know. And this is something that I want to tell everybody: like, don't ever give up your peace of mind to anybody, you know, friends, a relationship, whatever.
And that's deep.
So that's my affirmation.
I love it.
How about you, Monica?
Well, I live by my affirmation that I always post on social media, and I live by it. It's my affirmation is, what is it? I forgot it. By the grace of God, I am who I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody doesn't like it, too bad, because God gave me this grace,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna live by it.
How?
Yeah.
Give me this grace, and I'm gonna live by it.
Love that.
No, but yeah, by the grace of God, I am who I am. If He didn't want me to be that way, I would not exist.
Uh-huh. Yep. I love
Ooh,
that.
I love
that.
You know,
Oh, that's so beautiful.
That is beautiful. It's on your Instagram, you said?
I'm everywhere, girl.
She always posts
I
it.
post it everywhere. Like by the grace of God, I am.
And
who
I
am.
think
I love it.
I think that's a good reminder to people like all the time, because a lot of people question who they are, and for you to
Oh no, I
remind
knew
people-
who I was when I was 5
Like
years
that?
old, honey. Yes, I knew. I knew that I was going to be a
Really?
trans woman. I love being a trans woman. If I ever reincarnate, I want to be a trans woman. I'll love her again, but a smarter one,
I love
you know.
that all over
But you know what?
again. Same.
Even though, like I say, a smarter one, a little bit smarter because I made wrong choices through life, you know.
Yeah.
But I want to just like live my best life, like how I
Yeah.
am living
Yeah.
now, you know.
I love that.
I don't want to have worries. I don't want to. I just want to chill and just live life, you know, like live my fabulous life.
I love that. I love
I
it.
do because you know, like it's hard to find yourself, and a lot of people are like in the dark.
Mm.
You know, bring it to light, honey. Bring it to the light, like I say.
Uh-huh.
You know, bring
I
it to
love
the light,
that.
honey.
I love that.
Because we need to be true to ourselves, and finding yourself is very important. And a lot of people lack that. You know, they're lost.
And
Don't be lost, honey. Find yourself.
Don't be.
and
Are
I
you
love that you
lost?
live by
Don't
that.
be.
And we're gonna get more into her story because she has a lot. Like there's stories that she has that to me, like I tell her, I was just talking to them earlier. Like it really inspires me. Like she's one of the people that inspired me, and like I just love the way she lives her life, you know. But yeah, how about you?
Mine is kind of related actually. So I like to remind myself that you are an author, and I don't mean like as in writing books, but I mean like for your life. It's like sometimes people talk about superpowers, and I think that being able to make decisions is a superpower, especially when
Yeah.
the world mostly makes decisions about you for you.
Mm.
So I like my affirmations being like, no, 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 they're not going to tell you. You're deciding. So
Yeah,
you're an author. That's mine.
I love that.
Yeah, it reminds me of what my father used to tell me growing up, and he would tell me like you're architect of your life.
Yeah.
So you sketch out what you want it to be, you know?
That's beautiful.
And that's how I grew up, you know? Like my parents were separated, but my mother was a very like she nurtured me so much, you know? And she loved me so much, even though I was a trans woman. Even before I know that I wanted to transition, she took me to a restaurant and she took me out to dinner and she told me, I wanted to know that you better get ready for your life.
What?
And I'm like,
Ooh, I love
what are you
that.
talking
That's
about,
intuition.
Mom? Like, I'm like,
That's
what are you
a mom's-
talking
that's a
about,
mom's
Mom?
intuition.
And she took me to Lalo's on 26th Street, you know?
Oh, yes.
And she took me to Lalo's and she said, yeah, are you ready to face your life? Because at that time I had gotten kicked out of Blessed Agnes, the Catholic school, because I was wearing my sister's blouse.
Oh wow.
And my mother took me out to dinner after that because they told her to pick me up because I needed to change to boys' clothes. And I was wearing women's clothes, you know, like,
How old were you when you got kicked out?
oh, girl, I was like 12. And then I had to go to, and then I grew up in Catholic school, and it was hard for me to go to public school, you know? Like, and it was hard, but they bullied me when I went to, like, public school. Like, it was hard
Yeah.
because I was myself since I was little, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I was flamboyant.
Yeah.
I used to curl my hair, you know? Like, I used
love
to
that.
curl my hair. And then when I used to go to, like, the teacher always said, why are you always late? I'm like, I have to do my hair. And I'm like, and that's what I do
love
for a
it.
living now. You
Yeah.
know? Like,
Talk about that. I want you to like talk a little bit about what you do and like with like drama Monica.
Okay, so Drama Monica. Drama was born like, I can't say, like 30 years ago.
Yes.
I was trying to work I always wanted to work in a posh salon downtown, but I guess I was not their fit, you know? And they did tell me that this posh salon downtown on Oak Street told me that they didn't hire my kind. And then I said, what do you mean? And I said, Latina?
Latina.
Latina?
I love
And I
that.
said, Latina? And he's like, and then he's like, transgender. Or he said, well, at that time he said transvestites. And I said, you know what, honey, you got it all wrong, honey, because I'm a transsexual. And it's a transgender woman now, you know?
Right.
So, and I did go home and I cried and I have a boyfriend, you know, like, and I told him and I said, well, they didn't want to hire me. I was very upset and crying and emotional. And it was going to be about my birthday. And for my birthday, my boyfriend, actually, Ricardo Salgado, his name is, he opened my salon, my first salon, when I was 19.
19 years old.
Yes, I love that.
Oh my god.
19. I was 19 for my...
So you didn't have, there wasn't a place for you at that time, and so you created a space.
Well, there's still not spaces. You forget, you know, like there's still, we don't have the, I guess the opportunity. They don't give us the opportunity still. Every company says that they're pro-trans, pro-gay, whatever, but still they don't hire us. Yeah. So we're lacking opportunity in the community, you know? And that's what it is. Like, they need to stop and give us opportunity because, honey, we are talented, we're smart, and we sometimes are qualified for the positions, you know? But we are just lacking discrimination in society, like the trans world, you know? And that's why I wasn't given an opportunity, but I made my own opportunity. And honestly, I didn't make it and I didn't create it. It was my boyfriend that did it for me, you know? He said, you don't need nobody. You just need yourself. You're talented, you're smart, and you just have your own business, you know? And I've been a businesswoman for 33 years now. So anybody
That's
that wants
hard.
Yes.
and
Like that?
well, yeah, but anybody that wants to do it could do it, you know, like
I love
you
that.
just have to be focused and you have to be determined that that's what you want because we are lacking opportunity. And then also I didn't create my business, or I don't want my business as for wealth. You know, I created for survival purposes, you know, to live life. And luckily down the line, I did get a little famous, you know, and I am Drama Monica, the blonde bombshell. And
Just so you know, I am.
I am the legendary.
And you know
Monica.
what? She was sharing to me a story the other day that she's gotten to work with a couple of cool people, you know.
Yeah, I had the opportunity. Like I was a makeup artist before anything, you know, like I worked with a lot of people. Like I did Viva Glam in the 90s, you know, with Little Kim and Mary J.
Yeah.
Blige. I was the makeup artist. And I also worked with De Niro Records. I don't know if you've heard of De Niro Records, but
Educate us.
They had DMX and
Okay, yeah,
Little
yeah.
Kim and all of them. So I worked with them, with Regina Daniels here in Illinois, you know. And I had opportunity, but and I also went like Hollywood, but I was not prepared for Hollywood, you know.
Really?
Yeah, because they're so catty. The gay boys, honey, they are so catty. They said, "Who's that?" Like, where did they bring her from? You know, like they were so catty.
Where did
with
she
me.
fall from?
Yes, and they're still really catty. You know, they're still catty. There's so much competition. Like these people do shady shit just to get to the top. You know.
yeah.
100%.
And I'm
That's
like,
a lot of-
and I just said, oh, let me go back to Chicago. This is not for me. I don't have to
good.
compete. I just don't have to compete because I know who I am.
Yeah.
You know, like
And you're very talented. You
and
are very
yeah,
talented.
and I do makeup, I do hair. You know, I do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And one thing I like about you is that you always share that with others. Like she will teach anybody.
Really?
She will teach anybody how
Yeah,
to do
I
everything.
do. I do. Like I specialize in color. Like I do a lot of blondes, and I share. Like I think God gave me that gift to teach people too. You know, I don't want to be so like. I think I have to share it. You know, like
She's not a gatekeeper.
No, I'm not, because I'm not gonna like. There's money for everyone.
I always
and there's,
say that.
There's there's talented, and there's so much talent on every individual. You just have to try, you know? Totally. Yeah, and I don't care if I could teach my talent and people could put a salon next to me, but they keep forgetting that I'm Drama Monica, you know?
Yeah.
You better tell
Don't
her.
forget, honey, I'm Drama Monica. There is no competition.
I love that.
You can never resemble. You can never resemble this
You could
girl.
be the daughter, but not the mother.
Yeah, there's always room for everyone.
Yeah, I love that.
Over there.
And Wildcat, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I do so much of nothing. It's so great.
I love that.
No, like right now, I mean it because right now I'm relaxing and sleeping so much. And it's wild because I was raised very hustler mentality. Like I moved here to Chicago 12 years ago for college. And while I was in college, I was working like 3-4 jobs sometimes. So, and I just thought that's how life had to be and it was normal, you know? So I was just like, go, do all these things. Plus, it was fun. Like in college, I wanted to be in all these different clubs. I was like, wow, this is so cool. You can hang out with these people and these people. So I was doing the most. And now I like to chill. But like the serious version is I think the easiest way to put it is I'm in the health industry. So all of my jobs in some kind of way, they connect back to health. My original place is in art. So I started in music. I was a kid who was playing music from a very small age all the way up until basically I graduated college. So I started in music, but then I shifted into the health world and specifically the sexuality piece of the health world. So sexual health, I go to schools a lot and talk to middle schoolers and high schoolers and college students about sexuality and relationships and drama, abuse, like all that. Like we just put it all in a
talk about
bucket.
drama?
Yes, we do. That's actually the main bit. Like sometimes they think we're gonna talk about like literally sex a lot, and it's
Yeah.
like no, we're gonna talk about the drama around sex.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that.
What does that mean?
Yeah,
Drama
what-
around sex.
Well, so, there's always, oh my God, especially with kids. I just remember, because it's actually been a while since I've been in the schools on the daily. But one of the most surprising things was how excited kids were for the drama around dating. Like kids who were not even technically sexually active yet, they were so excited to get a partner so they could catch them cheating, so they could beat up the person that they were cheating
wow.
with. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Because
Because they learned that at home.
yeah, it's like you.
It's traditional.
But also what they see on
Period.
TV and everything.
Yeah.
No, but
It's what you see.
It's
So-
what, from home, right? It
Everywhere.
begins at home. I think from
It's
the
because
roots.
people have glamorized being toxic and like all that stuff.
I love being toxic.
No, we're not being toxic.
No,
Well,
but
even more than like, even more than glamorized, it's just what you see. Like, we're human beings. We model behaviors for each other, and we repeat what we see. We speak how the people in our house speak, the people on TV, all of that. Like, it's everywhere. It's not one place. And so these kids, they're watching people be in relationships. They're watching people fight. They're watching breakups. They're watching movies. They're watching their parents. So now they're like, well, it's my turn. So before they even actually have feelings for people, I was seeing so many people were just ready. When I get a girlfriend and I catch her cheating, I'm going to beat the dude's ass. And it was just like, you're 11. Like, what's going on here? So it was really interesting. So yeah, we talk a lot about like the drama, the dynamics around dating, like, because there's a lot of dating is about power in a lot of ways. Like there's a lot of this is mine, this person is mine, and they're nobody else's. So no one else look at them. Everybody look at them and see that they're mine, but like don't touch them, whatever. So there's a lot of like fighting and like arguing.
that's deep.
So we talk about that, like
That is so
relationships.
deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are the students then like replicating other behaviors too? Like if they see something at home like abuse or unfortunately even like sexual abuse, like do they ever show you any of that? Because we just said it starts at home a lot of the times too, right?
Oh, well, so for me, I say the source is everywhere. Like, yes, the thing about home is where you are first. That's where you start. So the people, your immediate family, they're the first people that you see do everything, whether it's argue, eat, sing, dance, like the people around you are first, but the world doesn't stop there. We take our kids outside. We take our kids outside every day. Right. They go to school, they interact with other people, they watch TV, like it's everything, both positive, negative, neutral. It's all the same place, but home is first. So yeah, you definitely see a lot of kids like coming in and talking about what they're seeing at home or what they're experiencing.
But let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Would you consider that being trauma instead of drama?
Oh, it's both. Yeah. Like, I think,
Because sometimes it's trauma, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, you can be drinking alcohol, right? And you can have like a little bit or you can have a lot and like get to the point where you have alcohol poisoning or something like that. So,
I love that.
like it can be, so it can be, it can be a drama, it can be a little spice, and then it can be like trauma, toxicity, abuse. Like there's a difference between harm and then like, this pattern of harm. That's where abuse comes in. It's like I'm routinely and intentionally doing this thing to hurt somebody like really deep over and over and over. So yeah, it's both or
That's
all
beautiful.
of it.
You know what? I was just thinking about like having like growing up. I don't remember having people like
No.
coming to school and sharing to us about sexuality like that.
Me
and
either.
so I think about like how much younger would I have been
Well, imagine
and
me
coming and,
that I'm 50.
am I coming out like of being? I always say like I'm vibe sexual, and I think I've talked to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like
that.
being able to do that with like much earlier, because I feel like a lot of time, I mean, you can't go back, you can't cry about spilled milk, but just like how important it is to have people like you that are going around educating, and specifically you've talked to me about educating and talking to a lot of like the queer people, the queer kids, and so how important it is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even just that end part, for me personally, like this is very self-serving in the sense that a lot of the work I'm doing is for people who are like me, look like me, move like me. So when I go into a space, like we're going to talk about health and we're going to talk about everybody, but like I'm putting in the center the people who matter the most. So I'm looking for the brown kids, the black kids, the queer kids, the kids who are like on the margins, because if you're helping the people who have the least, then you're helping everybody. Like we have to start with the people who need it the most and then grow from there. So I put those people in the center. And when I say need it the most, I mean that there's a lot of examples of sexuality and lifestyle when you're really basic. But for me, like when I was younger, there was not a lot of people that I had who moved through the world like I do now as an adult that I could look at. And so, but there were a lot of basic people. So I had so many of those. So that's why I say I put those people in the center, because there's a little bit less out there. Well, now it's a little different, especially with media and the internet. But when I was growing up.
Do you think it's changed throughout the years? Because
yeah.
I think that we're still stuck.
Oh, yeah, I would say that too.
Because you see, I used to work for like many like nonprofit organizations, and I would work for free, and
They
give
love
them my
that.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
they
give
love
them my
that.
time. I did get certified. I'm an HIV counselor, and I have a lot of titles, but we're like, we don't have opportunity. Like with the trans community, there's so much money for our trans community, and they're giving it out there, but they're not using it for trans,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. You were saying earlier too, like when you said, oh, okay, yeah, there's so many companies that are pro this, pro that. It's just enough. It's just enough to get by. It's just enough to like
They're just
signal.
tipping it.
Yeah.
Just like I was
Yeah.
saying at Pride.
It's
Yeah,
like
because
just
they
enough
just-
to be like, hey, look at me, we got it. But
Yeah.
like opportunity and resources and opportunity are supposed to be wealth in depth. Like every kid of X, Y, and Z should have all of the space and opportunity to do whatever. It shouldn't be like, we have this one brown kid that, worked really, really hard and we gave him a scholarship. And that's like the world that we're
One.
seeing right now. Yeah, we're seeing the one, the two, the little bit, and because we're coming from
It
basically
just reminds
nothing.
me, like back in the days, like even with HIV medicine,
Yeah.
we were not given an opportunity to have it.
Oh, yeah.
When it started, black and brown individuals did not. They were not the priority. They were white Caucasian individuals are getting the medicine before any brown and black. And it reminds me of that because
Yes.
we are controlled. It's controlled. We're controlled by society and politicians, and we're controlled.
Yeah, that makes me really upset because I'm on my TikTok and I'll just like see the algorithm and I'll see the videos, and I always felt like, okay, we've made progress, but then speaking with you guys, I'm like, how much though? You know what I mean?
No, like I said, I do it, and I've been doing it for
Right.
30 years. We're still stuck like in the 90s. To tell you that for the pandemic, we were behind 4 years, right?
Yeah.
We were behind 4 years because the numbers of COVID were behind.
Yeah.
Everything was behind, even HIV. All the STIs, we were behind 4 years, and we're still behind. So we don't even know who had COVID or not because we were behind, and even HIV, well, all those viruses, and we're still behind. We're still stuck.
And like behind meaning we're not where we could be with what we have. Like that's the key. It's like the world that we live in now, not that everything could and should be perfect, but we could be in so much of a better place if we had made the right decisions before. And I mean we like as people. And so it's the same thing with COVID that taught us. We had a lot of resources and education and money to be able to handle that transition a lot easier than we did. But it wasn't important to people. And so like pandemics and epidemics, they can really teach us what is important to us, like as a society, what is important to the government. You saw like the government decided to tell people to stay at home when it became like, oh, this is going to impact like our money. We can't be losing all of these people. But when it seems like it's just one part of the population, it's much easier to be like, okay, whatever, and that's what we learned with HIV. Like we had the resources to address HIV and AIDS so much earlier than we did, but it took forever because the people with the resources and the money felt like it didn't impact them. If anything, we saw a lot of attitudes of people who were like, oh, that's what the gays get, like they were like, this is God, like
But
doing
then
this for them.
it started impacting the straight community, and that's when they were.
And then the money showed up.
So and then
That's
money
when the money
showed
showed
up.
up.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah. It's
Cute.
the same. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with. It's
No,
the same.
because,
I love that. I love that.
Because it is
Tag team over
true.
there.
Like, like that is, we're limited when they want us to be limited.
And I think that connects to this question, like when it you want to read that first question, or I think it's the second question, where it talks about when it affects non-queer people, then it becomes an issue to everybody, you know? Like then it's an issue to us, and now like we want to talk about it. Now we want to, put our 2 cents.
Or stop talking about it.
So we're gonna, somebody asked a question, and I just want to I want to talk about it because I think what's important about like platforms like this is that you're able to have a conversation. And at the end of the day, like that's what we want to do. That's what I think helps like kind of create that change that we want to see, And so are you guys ready? We want to.
My God.
Okay, so we wanted to ask, or somebody asked these questions, anonymous questions, right? They said public schools are not allowed to teach the Bible or talk specifically about religious beliefs. Many are comparing or incorporating queer education in schools to religion. If a person can't talk about the Bible and beliefs, what makes queer sexuality different?
Because it is different.
It is different. How is it different to you guys? Like what?
Because one of them is a religion and then one of them is a lifestyle. Don't you agree?
Yeah, partially. I think like with religion, there is space for religion approaches education in its own way. Religion is about how you move through the world, how you interact with other people, how you understand, where you come from, the creation. And so that's why there's a lot of religions, because there's a big world out there. There's a lot of ideas and understandings of where we come from. But there's spaces for that. Church.
Yeah, there's churches,
temples, etc. School supposedly is education about life, the science, the math, the biology, like all of these pieces. And like I keep seeing people call it like queer education, and there's not really a lot of that. There's not a lot of that happening. What we're really seeing now is that people are taking the really bad and basic sex education and biology that we have and just trying to add more subjects to it, because everybody has a sexuality, whether you're heterosexual or you're bisexual or whatever. Like everybody has something. And we're just getting to a place where more people are recognizing, like what we talked about earlier. I didn't have anyone to like give me information about myself.
Right.
And so there's just people who are just trying to like balance those scales a little bit more. And I think that that's different than, religion is about bringing people into, this is how we're going to move and be. Like sexuality education isn't bringing people anywhere.
But
it's just
there
like
is a
letting you
lot
know
of
what's there.
education for the gay individuals, I think. There's open spaces and there's safe spaces.
If you're lucky, yeah.
And I think what he means is
When I was growing up, I used to go to like the Rainbow Room because that's where I was accepted,
there
as
are
a trans-
spaces, but I think what he means is like
in school
in a broader more
spectrum.
Well, like we were saying earlier, there's stuff, but there's not enough. Like there's not a wealth of it. Like I think even if you take the details of like gay, straight, whatever out, like none of us really learned a lot about any of this. Like it just kind of happened. Like there's not like I went to a really nice school, and still our sex education was like, here's where babies come from.
Oh,
and,
God.
Here's this video.
It's outdated,
and,
like,
teaching. And these
teaching.
pictures of like all these STDs and STIs and stuff. It was just like, girl, what's going on?
Outdated.
Like,
Outdated.
Outdated. Like and just lacking. And so like there are people who are there are spaces, there are resources, but we don't all have access to them. Like it still feels like that thing you have to be lucky for. Like you have to live in the right city, the right school, the right homeroom.
Well,
teacher.
hey, we live in Chicago.
Yeah, no, Chicago's doing it right.
No, Chicago's trying to do a lot of stuff. Like kudos for like one of my dear friends too that is trying to like put us out there. His name is Frank Aguilar. He's a commissioner, and every time like me and him get together, like he contacted me with Brandon Johnson, our mayor, and we had conversations. We had very, very many conversations of the trans world, like that we're lacking because last year there was trans individuals getting killed on the west side, and we were not even media worthy,
Wow.
So it didn't even come out in the media. They mutilated a trans individual and like carved kill AIDS in her face.
Oh my
my
God.
And did that even come out on the news? No. We don't even know.
I didn't know,
No. And it happened like in the west side of Chicago, and we were like last year that we tried to do like a little rally and like do something for them with the mayor, which was
Oh,
who was it?
redacted.
Who was
redacted.
She never showed up. She was a no-show. Really? And we
Not a no-show.
yeah, she was a no-show, and we still did it, and it's unfortunate how when people say they're gonna do something and they're not there. Like we're not looking for acceptance. We're not looking for approval. We're looking for, I guess I would say that it would be like not even acceptance. I would just call it just give us an opportunity to show ourselves,
Like
Seen.
Yeah.
The opportunity to be seen. I agree.
And it's like we're gonna be here. Trans individuals have been here forever. Even like before we got colonized, we were two-spirited. That like in the indigenous culture, we were two-spirited, and that was our
And
trans.
more than that,
Yeah.
that's also the thing too. I think it's important to mourn the fact that when you bring up colonization is also the erasure of so much. So there's so many things that all of our peoples don't know about our histories and
About who we really are.
Yeah, because
we were not giving.
It
It was erased. They were savages, and they erased our beliefs.
Yeah, and it's
they embrace their beliefs on us, and this is what people don't talk about,
No.
they're like when
my people do.
but yeah, a lot of people don't talk about it though.
You're right,
so
right.
come on, when is a white person gonna say they send all the garbage from Europe to the new Americas? When are you gonna talk about that only the garbage from Europe was sent to here to the US? When are you going to talk about that? When are you going to school us about that? That the rubbish of Europe was sent here. They never talk about that. And they're immigrants because they were sent here. This was our land, indigenous, the indigenous land.
Yeah, so I think something that you said that I really that was really, and I didn't know about it till you told me right now about the a lot of people that were being
Killed
like that here. And so I think for me that's why this question is very important, because not that I always like to just talk about things. That's just the way that I am. And I think for me it's important because it's important to have education, specifically for me, like sexual education there in the schools, because there are a lot of kids, like for me, for example, I remember being in high school and just having these questions. This is where I met Paulina, having these questions and like just kind of hating myself for being like that, being part of like my identity, And so I think it's so important to like have people where like you're talking about this and they can talk you through it, or just give you some insight on like, hey, like it's okay if you like guys and you like girls. And I think at that time I was dating.
And that's what
The
it
only
should be
person-
about. Like live your life and live yours, honey. Right?
I think it's important to say that, but also
Let me
to
live my life
to
and
be
live
able-
yours.
I think the affirmation of having the affirmation that comes with education is really soothing to you, And I think like we don't talk about that, and I find it so important. And I think I would say to whoever had this question, it's not that like you should talk about sexuality against the Bible or whatever. It's just don't put it in that. Like, why would you want to put it in that same category in a sense, if that
Well,
makes sense.
And kind of related to what you're saying too, think about what are the consequences of the way that we live now. If we live in a world now where, or specifically a society where we didn't talk about, I don't know, if we didn't talk about our bodies, just even from a general space, like not getting into the specifics, but if we didn't talk about our bodies, the consequences of that would be really great. We would have people who would not know how to make the best decisions for their bodies, whether it's about nutrition or, you know, the allergies that you have or like any of it. Like, it's really important that we see and share information about our bodies, because it changes how we live and interact. And like, even when you were saying like the piece about being affirmed as an individual, but also think about like the larger network. Healthy education around sexuality to me is not just about making queer people feel good, but making everyone able to better understand each other.
Oh, I love
because
that. I
the
love that.
violence, that's where like you spoke about one of the extreme forms of violence. Like, we have violence all the way from like little comments all the way to people being killed and mutilated. And it all comes from the same source of ignorance, of people not knowing about other people and their bodies, and being told that, okay, this is what a person looks like, this is what love in a relationship looks like. And so when you're taught that and you see something that looks different, people are usually violent because they're pretending to be protecting what they already know and understand and love.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There are a lot of people who are violent to specifically trans people, specifically trans women, because it's violating the sense of security that they feel like that they've been given and taught about what a woman is supposed to be or a man is supposed to be or how they're supposed to interact with each other. So people pretend to be protecting that through like violence. They're like, well, I know what, you know, it means to be right. So in order to like we don't have tolerance because we have been taught colonizing ways, which is you compete by harming other people.
Yeah.
You know, like we're living on land right now where there used to be lots of nations. Like when you talk about native people, there were multiple nations. Now we have states and one country. Right, one country in the middle, one country on the top, one on the bottom. So we have these 3 countries and all of these states, but there used to be many nations and they lived together or separately in a different way of peace because there was less competition. I'm not going to say there was none. Of course there was war and violence and competition, but it really, the colonizer spirit comes from like, my way is the only way and I have to erase everything else. And so when you don't teach people about each other and their bodies, they do violent things.
And
I'm
Go
so
ahead,
glad
sorry.
that you talk about the nations, the different nations. And now it's like we lived together back then. Why can't we do it now?
And
You know?
you know what's crazy?
You know?
that he's explained so much about, well, to me, about sexuality through land.
That did happen.
And what's crazy is like, I always, every single time, because you know, I think maybe 60% of my clientele, because you know, you guys know I do hair, but
Yes.
60 of my clientele is straight, quote unquote straight.
Oh, okay.
And so like every single time I try to explain sexuality to them, I tell them like exactly what you told me. And do you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, I don't remember fully where we went, but I do know, like, I genuinely, I think
what-
about like borders and flexibility
Yeah.
and sexuality very similarly. And I think that's where we're going
Yeah.
to, because again, like we said a minute ago, you know, we live right now in the context of like the United States of, you know, and that's just like somebody's idea of what this place is, where it starts and where it ends. That's what borders are. Borders say this is like, so I'm from what we call Colorado, right? So it's like there's a line that says this is where Colorado starts and this is where it ends. And then,
Right.
you know, we put meaning there. So it's like, that's a construction that's social, meaning that we decided those borders based off of whatever we wanted to come up with, and then we decided that they're true, and we deal with them as if they're real. But the borders are not actually real. There are borders and boundaries. There's water, there's roads, there's, you know, lack of road, whatever. So there is physical reality, but so I think about sexuality not exactly the same, but very similar, as in all of these labels and things that people come up with, they're just types of borders to organize space. And some of them are really popular and a lot of people have agreed to them, and some of them, you know, are not.
So what do you think about all these new labels that are out there now? Because I'm old school. I'm just like gay, trans, and a lesbian. That's it. And it's over. Because, honey, there's too many labels
But
now.
the thing is that it is
like, it's so confusing.
I can see why people are. I can see why people are confused on both ends. Like I've said very.
What do you think?
I've said very ignorant stuff, and like. But I don't get mad at when people are like ignorant about things because it's like I don't understand everything fully.
Right.
But that's where conversation is beautiful. Like this lady, and I've had the same thing. So we have a friend, right? And he's
that face.
So
you don't even have to say anything.
What?
There. Okay, so I have a friend, and I'm not gonna say names, but they're dating. Oh my god, how do I explain this?
I think we should
Hey,
not
you're
even
gonna
talk
try to
about this
find it out.
conversation.
Yeah, it's
we,
not
we
your
should
friend.
not.
But
We
I know I'm curious though about what you were saying about labels and everything.
Yeah.
You're
Because you know why I wanted
pronouns
to,
or
you know why I wanted to bring it up because
Yeah, why?
I can understand why people are so like
And shocked.
confused. And even look at you heard it from Monica herself. You know, she gets confused about some of the labels.
I do because I just think that we're just one gender, you know, like we're
And so,
like I want to just be gay and that's it, or trans and that's it. I don't want to be
A lot of
not
people-
come from. Yeah, I don't want that.
and that's why
they're
to me,
not
like
welcome. Not
to
just
me,
kidding.
I just talk about what I know. Like
No, but you know what? I
know-
respect it now because I had to learn to respect it because they respect me to live my life the way that I want to, you know? So I had to respect it.
Yeah, it's
and I
juicy.
did. It was a little confusing to me, but now I respect it and I give them kudos.
What
Kudos to them.
I've talked about this before. I've talked about this before. What I know about sexuality is I love when I have a fucking vibe with someone. I mean, if I have a vibe with someone, it could be, and I've told this to everybody. I've never been in love with a guy. I've only been in love with a girl.
A woman.
Yeah, she called herself a girl, so she was a woman. Oh, at the time she was a girl.
Oh, at the time she was a girl.
So I was a boy. So I've only been in love with. I've only been in.
I was a boy.
Well, I wasn't a man yet. I was like younger. I was younger is what I meant. I'm not a girl. But huh?
So it's something that Pablo said once that cracks me up. You know how Britney Spears has that song, you know, like I'm not a girl. And so Pablo Vittar was quoting it, and because she's a drag queen.
I know.
And people,
Yeah, you gotta tell people.
She's a drag
Give
queen. And
context
she's
to
like, you know, her thing, she's like, guys, I'm a boy. Like, it's fine. And so she was just singing the Britney Spears song. She was like, I'm not a girl. And she goes, no, I'm not a girl. And it's really funny to me. It just
No,
cracks me
I
up.
like that. So
Like,
they know a lot
I'm
of
a
people.
boy.
No, so basically we're
Okay,
talking
stop.
about you only talk about what you know. Well, I only talk about what I know, and I love to have a conversation with people, to get to, you know, just to be educated more on certain things and what people like to be called. Like, if someone wants to be called something, I'll call them whatever they want me to call them, and that's what it is. But when it comes to sexuality, for me, like, it's very fluid, so I don't get confused about things. It confuses people because they're like, but I thought you were gay, but I thought you were bi. I'm like, well, I don't. If I like a girl at that time,
Love is love.
Yeah, that's what.
That's what
that's
it
what we
is.
told her client earlier. Like,
Love is love.
because she was confused about.
It is.
She was
because
confused about two people, and we're like, she's like, what is it? And I'm like, it's love. They love each other, and,
It is.
and that's
Love
all
is
it
love.
is. You know,
I think love should not have any gender.
Love doesn't have borders.
Or
Love doesn't have
borders.
borders.
Or I think love is just love. You know.
Well, the problem with that is I agree. People should just be able to do whatever. But it's like it goes back to how I understand. Not that this is the right way, but how I understand.
But
like,
why do we need
order.
labels for though?
as long
Why
as
do we
people
need
are
labels?
of age.
Okay, yeah, that's a good
That's
point.
the only thing that I.
we like of age.
Let's all
What do
agree
you
on that.
think?
About labels?
Uh huh.
We're referring to like pronoun labels, right? Or is there more?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they mean anything.
Anything,
They're just
yeah.
like, they're like all of it, girl. I don't know.
They're giving it all.
She said it all.
All of them.
All the above. All the above.
Well, no. Growing up, I obviously knew like well, no one was like saying like I'm straight, but like I get, yeah, like I guess like in more like the hood community, I would hear dudes be like, oh no homo, like stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I grew up with these phrases that I absolutely hated. But you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was a ignorant girl too at one point. Like when people were saying like the word gay and it was used to offend somebody. You know what I mean? Like so those were like in my opinion fucked up days and moments, because I look at it now and I'm like, I mean I could be wrong, but I don't see that as much anymore, where like you'd see a group of kids whatever, they'd be like your shoes are gay, you know, like that doesn't even make any sense, but like kids would say that all the time growing up. So I would hear that, I would hear like a lot of dudes, especially at school, no homo, things like that I would hear, and I don't hear it as much anymore. Those are like labels specifically, but those are little like phrases that I remember hearing. But yes, like the trans, gay, straight, obviously, the pronouns, they don't confuse me. I just don't want to ever come off ignorant. If like, and this is why I feel like celebrities should do a better job, and they have been, of being like kind of like it's okay if you mess up. I know like Demi Lovato was one of them who came out and said she's I think she's a she now. Right, she went back to she, but then she was they kind them. Yeah. But like she even said it like, and this is a little controversial too, because there was I saw some articles about that saying that there was like a big fat form of privilege there for her to even do that. You know what I mean? For her to be able to bounce back and forth whenever she wanted to. I don't know how true that is, but I read that. I guess having a beauty contest.
No, we had like a Mean Girls moment. Mom, fix your hair.
Yes.
But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I hear you. There's a lot there.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting, that article that was kind of just talking about her privilege in that sense. But if you are a they them, I'm gonna respect that. But if I mess up, like you have to give grace, especially if someone doesn't mean harm. It's the intent behind it. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I respect it, but let's just say I met you for the first time and I go, oh yeah, you know, he and she, and then you're like, oh, I don't go by that. Then like that's okay.
I go by they.
I go by they. Just don't shame people.
They is too many people, so I'm not that big.
I'm not that big.
I used
Yeah.
You used it?
Yeah.
You do?
I use multiple though.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's like,
but you won't get mad, right? If someone says like he or
sometimes it depends.
you do? Okay.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it depends on how like.
Oh,
rude-
they
people
call me
wanna-
he
Like
when there's
way.
gonna be a fight, but because I'm a woman, you know.
Yeah, I
like to
get
tussle.
that.
Yeah.
I like to
I
tussle.
guess you're right. Yeah,
Well,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, there were so many things. Like, let's go backwards, because you asked the
Let's go
question.
back. Yeah, it was a
I
lot
forgot
more.
what it was. No, it was good though. I just forgot.
Well, what
you,
question?
She said, "What was my question?"
What was my question?
Mother just
Something
asked
about
away.
labels. She said, "Oh, you asked me what I think."
Yes,
Oh, yes.
what'd you think?
Okay. See, no, I forgot what I think. No. So there are a lot of them. There are a lot, and there's gonna be more, and they're gonna change. That's how language works. That's how people understanding everything changes. Fashion changes. Like there's a lot of
But let me
evolution.
tell you, fashion remains. Fashion fades. What is it called?
Trends fade, but fashion style,
remains the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Coco Chanel. No, just
That's
kidding.
what I'm saying. Chanel.
Yeah.
She's a designer queen.
I think similarly about queerness, because sometimes it's very interesting.
Do you think
for
it's
me.
gonna change though?
Oh yeah. Well, change is a really broad word, but I would say evolve. But the thing that cracks me up is sometimes
love that.
when I
Evolve.
hear people talk about these kind of things, just because we all have an area that we spend a lot of time in. So because I spend a lot of time there, when I hear people talk about it who don't spend a lot of time there, it's like my bubble is burst. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that's what like people think like that. And it's like, so for me, when people talk about some of these subjects, they're like talking very future forward, but like kind of like similar to the colonization thing. I look at a lot of these concepts as very old, and that we escaped in a sense. Like I think we used to have a lot of fluidity as human beings, and then we got really rigid. And so then when people, what I'm saying is, I notice that when people talk about any sort of decolonizing anything, like in any way, they describe it as future forward, but it's like, no, it's going backwards, because we already had figured this out. We already figured out how to live in certain ways. And then these forces
I think
came
that we are
changed
going. I think we are going.
But at the
backwards,
same
actually,
time,
especially with our lifestyles, and I think
My thing is just don't call people what they don't want to be called, and call them what they want to be called, and that's it.
just
Like,
respect.
To me, it's
just
like
Paulina said, respect.
a lot of people say
And
like,
that's it.
I don't get the pronouns. You don't have to get it.
don't
You
have
just
to get it.
have to respect
Yeah,
people.
I
and call
was
them.
ignorant
It-
about saying that I don't get it too. Like back when it first started. But you know what? They let me live. Let them live. you
Yeah,
know?
like I hate when, like
It's like a council of people. They let you live. They're like, okay, don't cut her head off. And she was
It's
like,
just-
you know what? They didn't kill me, so I'm gonna let them have that.
It's just-
That's what I just heard.
like just anybody that calls you out of your name you don't like. I had this friend and his dad was like, he was just so mean and he would call me Nectar, and he called me. And he knew he was saying it wrong, but he was blaming it on that he had something wrong with him. But I knew, you know, like when someone's bullying you and like,
You know.
motherfucker, I know you're bullying me. I know you're calling me Nectar like on purpose. And I would tell him, I'm like, my name is not Nectar, it's Nestor, and I'm not gonna say their name, but I even clocked one of the queens one time because you know I had
Doing
them.
it on purpose.
She was doing it on purpose, and then I said it like this. She was and then I hire her to do something for me. So it's like, bitch, I'm paying. So well, I wasn't paying, but the club was paying. But I got her the gig. So she grabbed the mic, right? She grabbed the mic and she was introducing, and she was in the middle of her thing, and she said something about Nectar. It was on my birthday thing, and I said, bitch, that's not my name, and I said it like that because at the end of the day, it's like. I'm gonna be.
You have your own microphone,
Right.
bitch.
I'm gonna.
grab a fake one. Right?
I'm gonna get mad. No, this is the thing. I'm gonna get mad, and this is why I get when people like I don't have to understand the pronouns, and I don't always understand them,
Fair.
but I respect them, and that's the thing. At the end of the day, that you just have to respect people, call them for what they want to be called, love people, and then let's just live in a.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree, but the problem is people don't know how to, right? Like, respect is something that you have to do.
Earn?
It sometimes, like I like to think so when I'm being rude. I'm like, you have to earn my respect, but like, respect is something that you have to like follow through on. You have to know what
Yeah.
to do and how to do it. So I can't call you by your respectful name if I don't know your name. Or if
So
your name,
ask, you're saying.
yeah, or some. I think even more than the individual piece of like asking, yes, definitely ask people, but like broader, going back to what we were saying earlier, if there was education, my body wouldn't have to be the site of your learning. Like, I think I'm willing to. That's why like we'll go into a classroom. We'll be like, okay, give me the jokes, give me all the ignorance, whatever. But like in general, someone's body shouldn't have to be the place that you learn like. There's all okay. We could switch it to a different type of ignorance, like something that happens really commonly with like brown people, for example. Is there are brown people from different places, and here in the U.S., because it's not super important to learn about anything that's not the U.S., people are just like, oh, I don't know this Mexican guy, and it's like, well, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it's like there's a distinction there that means something. And while, yeah, you could learn from that person, but also let me back up. Imagine how much better interactions in the world would be if you went to school and in geography you actually learned geography. You actually learned that okay, there's Puerto Rico, there's Colombia, there's Mexico, these are different places.
Okay.
These are how they're similar. So I look at a lot of stuff that same way. It's like, yeah, you could ask an individual person, but
Right.
like what if we don't you go to school to learn geography? What if we actually learned the map there other than just the United States? Like,
So what's the map before we wrap up the show? What's the map though that you would like to have it, to be taught in school so that we don't have to rely on your body or your image?
I think
blueprint.
for me, it's less about the specifics and more just that general concept of being open to learning and people learning about themselves. Like
Okay.
to be able to face the reality that, like going back to what you said, we live in a world that has decided where money, power, access, like all of these things have been decided already. So to just acknowledge that reality is like, for me, that's the wish. So when people bring up like whether it's queer education or learning about like Latin America or you could fill in the blank with anything, it's just being able to learn the idea that there's a reality here that we should probably learn more about.
To wrap up, we have to wrap up, guys. I don't want to wrap up.
I know we need a part
but
We do need a part two, right?
but
Still
to-
so much I gotta
Yes.
get
to wrap up a little bit, I would want to. We always ask that question, like, what would you tell your younger self?
to. Yeah.
Like,
love that question.
what would you tell in this specific situation? What would you tell like a younger queer person, whatever they are, whatever they are.
Wait, is it us or
Yeah.
somebody else?
And no,
Them?
it could be you, but it can also just be someone.
Maybe watching.
Just a
who's
kid, yeah.
younger, yeah.
I get it. Okay. I don't know, but I get it.
That's my life.
You know,
I
you know.
Well, I want to tell them to be who you are and be true to yourself, you know? And I think you'll be happy.
Yeah.
Because that's what made me happy, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to become Monica, and that's what made me happy.
Like, what would
And
you tell like a young trans like girl? Probably in
start
your case?
early. Start early,
Start
take
early.
hormones, and don't forget to get surgery.
You're not a mistake. How about that?
I'm not. No, but yeah, no. Just start
would tell 'em
early.
that.
You
You
know,
would-
just love yourself for who you are. Flourish, honey.
Mine is easy. You were right.
You were right.
You're right. Nice.
Because I was like, I think I'm right, and then I was like, wait, let me be humble, and then it was like, no, you were right.
I love that. I love that.
Love it. And where
You were right.
where can we follow you on social media to keep up with you both?
I am at, what is my name? I got banned so many times that I had to change my name.
Not banned.
Yeah, you know, Instagram, they hate everything. Like, you post like a toe, and they're like, oh, what's going on?
I know.
No, my Instagram is Wildcat Shadow.
Wildcat Shadow.
Oh, and I'm Drama Monica.
Monica.
Drama
and
Monica.
Wildcat Shadow. Thank you for being here with us today. We definitely need like a part 2. I still want to dive into so much more. We'll have Tati here next
Yeah,
time as
because
well.
there's a lot of stuff that we didn't talk about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think we
And
need
that's
to.
okay.
No, and it's not okay because
Oh,
we
she's
need to
ready.
we need to be heard, you know?
Okay.
That's
100%.
right. That's right, mom.
No, we're gonna make it work. I know we try to keep our episodes under 45 minutes. We went way over, but that's okay. And maybe even 2. We'll have some stuff for you guys. So don't
Okay,
worry.
then. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you for
Make sure-
having us here.
Of
course.
Follow
Thank you,
us.
guys.
Never Too Shy. Never Too Shy Pod on Instagram. I know my own Instagram handle. And any questions you want to ask any of our guests or us, you can always email us at nevertooshy at simpena.co.
Okay, if you want to send me gifts too. Drama
Thank you
Monica.
guys. Bye.
My